class 12th subject physics 13th chapter AC circuits. From the chapter let us see the AC voltage applied to a capacitor. That is, in this point we will consider purely capacitive circuit. For that purpose let us consider a capacitor of capacitance C connected to an alternating source of EMF whose instantaneous EMF is given as E. As soon as this capacitor is connected to this alternating source of EMF, the current I will be set up in the circuit. Now the instantaneous EMF of that AC source E is given as E equal to E0 sin omega t, equation number 1. Now if you consider this capacitive circuit, at that time the current flowing in the circuit will transfer the charges to the plates of this capacitor. The current I flowing through this circuit transfers the charge to the plates of the capacitor, producing the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor. As the current reverses its direction in each half cycle as it is alternating, and therefore the capacitor is alternately charged and discharged. Now let Q be the charge on the plates of the capacitor at any instant of time t. So at any instant of time t, let Q be the charge on the plates of the capacitor. At that time, the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor phi is given as phi equal to Q by C. That already we have studied. Potential between the plates of the capacitor equal to the ratio of charge to the capacity of that capacitor. Or from this equation we can write Q is equal to C phi, that is charge is equal to capacity into potential difference, as equation number 2. So this Q is equal to CV will represent that charge present on the plates of the capacitor at any instant of time t. Then the instantaneous value of current I, the instantaneous value of current I will be given as I is equal to dq by dt, that is rate of flow of charge per unit time, that is the current. So I is equal to dq by dt. Now putting the value of Q, we will get d by dt of Cv, because Q is equal to Cv. But in this case the potential between the plates of the capacitor phi will be written in terms of this E, and therefore we can write d by dt of Ce. That will be equal to d by dt of this E will be written as E0 sin omega t, and therefore we will get Ce0 sin omega t. But the derivative of this sin omega t is omega cos omega t, and therefore further we can write Ce0 omega cos omega t. Now rearranging the term, we can write it as I is equal to E0 upon 1 upon omega c. This E0 upon 1 upon omega c is nothing but again it is E0 omega c cos omega t. Then this cos omega t will be written in the form of sine, that is cos theta is equal to sine of theta plus pi by 2, and therefore it will be written as E0 upon 1 upon omega c sine omega t plus pi by 2. So here cos omega t is written as sine of omega t plus pi by 2. Further it will be written as I0 sin omega t plus pi by 2. This term E0 upon 1 upon omega c will be written as I0, that is peak value of current, and therefore you will get third equation as I0 sin omega t plus pi by 2, equation number 3, where I0 equal to E0 upon 1 upon omega c. So this is the peak value of current. Then if you compare equation 1 with this equation 3, then E is equal to E0 sin omega t and I is equal to I0 sin omega t plus pi by 2. Comparing these equations, we can say that between the instantaneous EMF and instantaneous current, there is a phase difference of pi by 2. And hence, the graphical representation of the instantaneous EMF and instantaneous current is as shown. If we plot the graph of E against omega t and I against omega t, then the nature of the graph will be as shown. So this continuous line or this graph will represent variation of EMF and this dotted curve will represent the variation of current. Now from this graph it is clear that if you consider the variation of EMF against omega t and the variation of current against omega t, then from this graph it is clear that if you consider the variation of EMF and current, then there is a phase difference of pi by 2 between EMF and current, and hence in this case the current is leading the EMF, and therefore from this graph we can conclude that in AC circuits containing only capacitor, that is in case of purely capacitive circuit, the alternating current I leads the alternating EMF by a phase angle of pi by 2. In case of purely capacitive circuit, the alternating current I leads the alternating EMF by a phase angle of pi by 2, or in case of capacitive circuit, the alternating EMF E lags behind the alternating current I by a phase angle of pi by 2. And now let us consider the phasor diagram in case of capacitive circuit. So this vector will represent the phasor for EMF. This vector will represent the phasor for current. Now from this figure, it is clear that the phasor representing peak value of EMF. So this phasor, the phasor representing peak value of EMF makes an angle of omega t in the anti-clockwise direction with respect to this horizontal axis. So phasor EMF makes an angle of omega t with the horizontal axis in anti-clockwise sense. Now as current leads the voltage by a phase of 90 degree, the phasor representing current, this phasor representing current is turned through 90 degree with respect to the EMF phasor in anti-clockwise sense, and therefore we can say that in this case the angle between phasor EMF and phasor current is equal to 90 degree. Now the projections drawn from E0 and I0 on this vertical axis, that is E and I, will represent the instantaneous EMF E and the instantaneous current I. So this will be the phasor diagram for the capacitive circuit. And now if you compare the term I0 is equal to 1 upon E0 upon 1 upon omega c, then we can say that the instantaneous value of current in the capacitive circuit is given as the instantaneous value of current in the capacitive circuit is given as I is equal to E0 upon 1 upon omega c sin omega t plus pi by 2, sin omega t plus pi by 2. Then from this, if you consider the term E0 upon 1 upon omega c, which represents the peak value of current I0, and therefore comparing I0 equal to E0 upon 1 upon omega c with Ohm's law. So according to Ohm's law, current I will be equal to V by R. And therefore, if you compare this term of I0 with Ohm's law, then we can say that this term 1 upon omega c, will represent resistance in that circuit. And therefore, that resistance in that circuit will be called as the capacitive reactance Xc. And therefore, we can write Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c. Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c. That will be written as omega will be replaced by 2 pi f, and therefore Xc is equal to 1 upon 2 pi fc. Xc is equal to 1 upon 2 pi fc, where f represents the frequency of the source of AC, that is alternating EMF. So f is the frequency of AC. From this relation, it is clear that the capacitive reactance Xc is inversely proportional to frequency of AC f. Similarly, the capacitive reactance is also inversely proportional to the capacitance of the capacitor C. Now, in case of DC circuits, instead of AC circuits, if you consider DC circuits, for DC circuits we know that frequency f equal to 0, and therefore Xc will be equal to infinity, because if you put the value of f equal to 0 in this relation, then Xc will be equal to infinity. That is, in case of DC circuits, the capacitive reactance will become equal to infinity, since DC circuits are having frequency f equal to 0. And therefore, from this relation we can say that the capacitor blocks the DC will be blocked by the capacitor, and it will allow to pass AC of high frequency. So high frequency AC will be passed through the capacitor and DC will be blocked. Now, if you consider this capacitive reactance Xc, the unit and dimensions of this capacitive reactance Xc is same as that of the resistance in the circuit, and therefore this capacitive reactance will offer resistance in case of the purely capacitive circuit.